Hello, everyone. My name is Deontay Belton, and I'll be the speaker for this evening's professional development session on andragogy. I'm excited to have this opportunity to talk with you all about what andragogy is and how it impacts professional development for educators and students alike, in turn, students alike. First, we must understand how adult learners learn, which is essentially what andragogy is, like learning and how adults perceive information and the best way to teach adult learners, learning how they learn. When we do understand how adult learners learn, we can design PD sessions or professional development sessions and experiences that are more engaging for the adult learners, the educators, and that way we can make the PD sessions more impactful. Malcolm Knowles is a key figure in adult learning theory, andragogy, essentially, and he's outlined about five core principles, let's say, about adult learners, or excuse me, five adult assumptions about adult learners that sort of guide the way that we look at the effectiveness of teaching strategies. Adult learners are driven by the need for self-direction, and I do believe that comes with the just having more experience as an adult. We prefer more autonomy to do it, be able to do things how we like to do them, being able to take charge of our own learning. So that's the first one. Secondly, adult learners, we have more experience than younger learners, so that's something that we have to take note of and acknowledge, that adult learners actually bring their own learning and their own experiences to the table, and we can use that as a foundation for how they process the information that's being given to them. The readiness to learn is also, the readiness to learn is also tied into this and the way that they tackle different problems. And again, that may be for experience. Adult learners are also problem-centered, and we particularly try to have a solution for each problem. We're trying to figure out how to solve things rather than essentially get into the nuts and bolts of something, rather than theoretical content, about what could, the possibles and everything like that. Adult learners are also very motivated, fourthly, by other internal factors, because they have other motivations that may be different from younger learners. For example, their professional growth, and that's an example, and also personal achievement within their field or where they're trying to grow. That's another difference. These principles are important for professional development because when we build adult learners and give them autonomy based off their experiences, we make the learning more relevant and engaging for them. A lot of times, speaking from my own experience, I do see that professional development sessions may not show very much relevance to the issues at hand or what's needed by the people within that professional development session, or even within that school district, for example. Sessions that incorporate reflection and collaboration in real world experience and application, they have a lot more a better outcome or more effectiveness than say passive lectures, which are more hands off. So if you facilitate discussions where the teachers can share their own strategies, what work for them, and they can actually reach into their own pot rather than just being constantly fed information, in theory that may stick a little bit more than just giving them information and saying, hey, here you guys go. So some of the best practices for delivering on professional development is fostering collaborative learning. So you have to encourage that small group activity and peer discussions, which I am personally a big fan of. I think that I do learn a little bit better with the more one-on-ones or the smaller groups, and I think that's just a personality trait of mine. But perspective is everything, and I think that that's something that's very beneficial to us as adults. We flourish by being able to talk with our colleagues and the different perspectives that we offer. interactive and interactive multimedia techniques. That's another great practice, by incorporating those visuals and hands-on tools that helps with the engagement factor, and that can be look different from adult versus younger learners, because I do believe that there's a difference in focus. That's just my perspective. So incorporating that technology does help keep us as the adult learners on our toes as well, and helps us maintain that attention span of the younger learners too. Third, I would say the clear, actionable objectives. What is it exactly that we need to tackle with this professional development session? How will we get there, and how will this benefit us in the end? Just giving that understanding. Bias is also something that you need to consider, both as the presenter and as the audience. Other things to take into consideration are the cultural, ethnic, and gender biases that we all have regardless of who we are, which doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing, but we need to acknowledge that it can affect how the information is delivered and received, because I've been on both ends so far. Not as much as being the deliverer. One second. Okay, I think we're going again. And as I was saying, with the cultural, ethnic, and gender biases that we all have, we don't also always need to necessarily look at them as something that is negative, but we can look at it as strengths, as positives, because we all bring something unique to the table from our different perspectives, whether that's your perspective as a man, woman, regardless of your ethnicity, socioeconomic background, and any of those. And when we take all this into consideration and apply these principles of andragogy, that will empower us and allow us to create a professional development that meets the needs of the adult learners and within the sessions, and essentially get the people what they need. So those best practices that I mentioned, like making sure we're collaborating, incorporating the interactiveness within our learning, and setting those clear objectives, that will make for a more inclusive and impactful professional development session. So I'm excited to see how these work in my own professional development, my own professional career. And I'm Deontay again, and thank you.